The creation of the dorsal Nazca Marine Reserve in Peru was completed at the end of 2020 and is now the country's largest protected and solely marine natural area. Much to the delight of French ornithologists, griffon vultures, once in danger of extinction, now have approximately 2,000 breeding couples around France. The pygmy hog, Porcula salviana, recently joined the endangered species list. However, a reintroduction program in Assam, India, has given it a greater chance of survival. Hello, and welcome once again to the Prime8 News. Today, we'll be looking at some of Big Tick's tips to help your household. Tick wishes to help you understand just how easy it is to save yourselves money and the environment at the same time. I regret to report that my Prime Pad has malfunctioned, so until Peter Platypus sends someone down here to fix it, you will have to put up with little old me on my lonesome. I have looked at the information I received from Tick by email, and we will look at 2 day-to-day items that many of you will have in your home, with a view to helping you understand a little more about their use and cost to run. Sam Snake helped Tick draw up an experiment from where he is staying. Let us look firstly at the everyday kettle, something I expect many of you may have used very recently. I have studied many subjects over the years, including physics, but I must confess it would be difficult for me to explain the complexities of joules, kilojoules and watts without sending you to sleep. So we have broken it down more simply. The calculations Tick and I have used were worked out on a few assumptions, one of which is that we considered the water poured from the tap to be at roughly 20 degrees Celsius. Tick used a 2.5 kilowatt kettle, but the power level of kettles will vary. However, this will be sufficient for the purposes of this demonstration. I am sure you know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius in normal conditions. So, to explain a little of the science, in this experiment, the kettle will need to warm the water by 80 degrees from 20 to 100. Now, this is done using either an electric filament or direct heat source. Firstly, Tick boiled a kettle containing 1 litre of water. We knew this would not be an easy task for me to achieve down here. Having assessed the energy taken, he calculated that if you were to do this 5 times each day for a week, this would cost approximately £1 at 2021 energy prices in the land of humans, equating to £52 a year. When he reduced the volume in the kettle to just half a litre, still enough for 2 cups of tea, not surprisingly, the energy required each year using the same criteria would reduce to just £26 a year. This is the reason power companies and governments in the land of humans are encouraging smart meters. A saving of this amount of money might not seem much in a year, but it is a clear indication of what you can do to easily save resources. Indeed, what if everyone did the same? Tick went on to have a conversation with Amanda Panda on the subject of recycling, and more specifically, the symbols used in the land of humans to explain how they should process their household waste for the bin collectors. Here we have a chart that Amanda has prepared and placed on her wall inside her treehouse here on Prime8 Island. This is designed to explain some of the somewhat unnecessary complexities of symbols used. Big Tick donned his trusty mask 81 and a pair of roughly fitting marigolds, in a rather fetching shade of yellow that almost matched his feathers. He then proceeded to analyse the 3 sets of recycling bags that had been left by members of the public. One of the most commonly identified errors in people's understanding seems to be the green dot, seen here. Tick found several items that consumers clearly thought could be recycled, like cat food pouches, for example. However, this motive actually has a somewhat ambiguous definition in the land of humans. The official meaning is that the packaging is recyclable, will be recycled, or has been recycled. It is a symbol used on packaging in some European countries, where it signifies that the producer has made a financial contribution towards the recovery and recycling of packaging in Europe. So, can it be recycled or not? Well, exactly. Today, I have chosen our word of the week with Tick's adventures in mind. Fastidious, an adjective implying an individual to be very attentive to and concerned about accuracy and detail. I have to say that when I packed Tick off to the land of humans all those weeks ago, he was somewhat wet behind the ears. I know we can't see his ears, but I think you know what I mean. Now, however, his communicative abilities are clear, concise, and fastidious. Excellent. It's a shame it'll be a few more weeks until he can really get his wings dirty, so to speak. As always, we welcome your suggestions for areas to explore. If you have enjoyed this episode of Prime8 News, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. I have been Professor Patrick Prawn, and you were watching the Prime8 News. Right, let me use this opportunity to get this IT guru to help me get my contact directory in order. It's all over the place.